Well, the first thing I want to talk about, dude, is you got me thinking with all the back with the Halo talk, like, buying into the Xbox One was Halo 5, buying into the Series X. I mean, every generation, of Xbox, you've pretty much bought in because of a Halo title. And I'm just at a
Halo
point
Gears Forza,
where
Halo Gears Forza is that's the meme.
It's a burgers, fries, shake, but it's mostly been Halo. Like, I don't think people don't buy consoles, Xbox consoles, for Gears. As great as Gears is, people don't buy consoles for Gears. People don't buy consoles for Forza. People buy into it because of Halos, and then they get the additional fries and shake. But it just makes me realize how, like, I don't want to swear too much in this, but I know it's going to slip, so I'm just going to use my one F-bomb here to get the PG-13 rating. I'm fucking sick of that. Like, I'm so sick of, like, a Halo game's going to be what sells the console, so I buy in because this is an exciting new thing of a franchise I love, and it gets me excited about what's to come, and then nothing's there. Like, I did not arrive at being any sense of, like, a brand fan until I got an Xbox. I played every console I could. I didn't really play Nintendo's as much, but it was just because there wasn't enough there that, like, made me want it at the times, that they had different consoles. But I played, Dreamcast, I played Sega Saturn, I played, PlayStation 1, 2, any console, or handheld that I was able to play, I was checking out because I just liked all the different offerings. But then I get to Xbox, and I'm like, holy cow, I love how this feels. I love the vibe. I still played the other stuff. I still got interested about the other stuff. But then it gets into the 360 era, and Halo 3 is coming out, so I get the 360. But then there's this new game called Gears of War, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, these guys are making games that, like, in the age that I'm growing in, they're making games that feel like are just what I'm ready for, what I'm wanting. They're making the kind of games I want. And then I'm out of games for like 2 years. I come back. Brian's telling me stuff about the Master Chief Collection. Brian and Justin are telling me about, they got this, they had this other guy named Don Matrick with a chipped tooth or whatever, and this guy's gone, or buck teeth, I don't know, whatever. He's got some issue with his teeth. Nothing wrong with that normally, but Don Matrick, that dude. So then you get to Phil Spencer, and they're telling me how this new guy, Phil Spencer, seems pretty good, and things are changing, the Kinect is separate and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'd like to get this, so I get the Xbox One, and I bought into that ecosystem. Phil Spencer said in this interview recently with Kind of Funny Games that they lost the worst console generation to lose, which was the Xbox One PS4 era, because that was the era that people started buying into digital libraries, started building their stuff up. And I did that with Xbox. Every third-party title I got on my Xbox. I didn't get a Sony PlayStation 4 until 2017, but it was like 2015 when I got an Xbox One. So I had 2 years on PlayStation for myself, building up my digital library. But every E3 that I was paying attention, I kept hoping and waiting for something to grab me personally. And things like ReCore, things like Crackdown, things like Forza, all this other stuff was not grabbing me. Sea of Thieves seemed interesting, but even at launch, even promoting that game, there was no sense of, like, campaign, story. It was more, hey, look at 4 people playing this game, having fun. But I got into it because of Halo. Master Chief Collection's got to get better at some point, and it does. Halo 5, I still had a great time with that game, despite some of the disappointment that was received overall. But then you get to Xbox Series X, and I'm like, this is the year they got to bring it with 2020. And the showcase seems cool. It's all CGI stuff, aside from Halo, but it seems interesting. Fable's coming back. Holy cow. Fable Legends got canned. People have been waiting for Fable for forever. Avowed, set in the world of the Pillars of Eternity franchise, sounds very exciting, but it might be like its own kind of like Elder Scrolls Skyrim-y thing. Wow, really cool. We love Obsidian. They always put out great fun games. Can't wait to see what that is. Then you got Stalker 2, which got a lot of people excited, and you got a bunch of these other games that got people interested. But Halo Infinite was coming. Bought into that. Now I'm just at this point that Infinite is past its, like, prime, or past its plateau, and now we're just living in the multiplayer era. So many changes have happened at 343, and a lot of momentum is lost with that I don't think they'll ever get back. I'm not hating on 343. I like them, but I'm just saying that, like, I'm so sick of the Halo era of Microsoft, because, like, I've depended on that so long to get me excited about Xbox, and there's been nothing else to support it. And when I say that, like, Gears gets me excited. But I can count on that. I know that's coming. I know a Halo's coming. I know a Forza's coming. What else are you doing from the ground up original IPs to get me excited? Every time they've done something, it's been a game like ReCore. And I've never played ReCore. I'm sure it's really fun. But that game is not a console seller. That is not a game that if you're in high school and you're on the school bus chatting with your friends, you're going to be talking about. That is not a game, if you're going out with your buddies drinking, that you're going to be talking about. Games like Crackdown 3 that disappoint people, that had a lot of anticipation, but had numerous delays. I mean, just underwhelm and underperform. So then what's Xbox do? I mean, part of the thing that bothered me was in this whole Xbox One era, right? I had so much faith in them when I could have lost it, because their ecosystem was becoming amazing. Phil, instead of having this like, we're gonna beat Sony at their own game, he's like, no, I want to see the bigger picture, and I want to do I want to make our own rules. I don't want to beat them by the rules they defined. So he goes and he gets, what does he do? He makes all these acquisitions, comes out with backwards compatibility.
That's one I didn't mention. I should have.
Yeah, but that's all right. But that Game Pass, adaptive controllers for those that are disabled, custom controller stuff, like the Elite Series controller and all this stuff, different versions of the One X console at the time, and now the Series X, so people have their choice depending on how they want to play. I mean, all
subscription
that
plan. If you can't afford the console straight up, you can buy the console over subscription.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So they come out with all these roundabout things. So in this roundabout way, it feels like, okay, we're going somewhere, and it's all going to culminate in the Xbox Series era. That's where we're really going to see the payoff, because obviously these acquisitions are going to take time to make the games they're making. We're not going to see it this gen. This gen's already an L. But they're building, they're taking time. It's almost like someone that's going through a weight loss journey, and like they're in the dark right now. You know that they're going to the gym, but you're not seeing the results yet. But they're gonna have that selfie on Facebook, and you're gonna be like, holy shit. Wow.
You look hot.
But 3 years into this, and nothing. And I feel like and for you guys that don't know, the internet is just at a collective, in the gaming industry, is at a collective breaking point right now. Because there are people that love Xbox that, shout out to someone like Wesley, who's not too affected by this. He's just happy to play the games. He's content. He's having a good time. He's living it up. But then you got other people who just want so badly, like Brian and I, for Xbox to succeed, that are just getting to the point where it's like, I'm running out of excuses. And in fact, I'm past beyond the point of running out of excuses. I'm sick of it, because 2020 was hard for everybody, and people don't give enough credit still to this day, I think, for the developers and what people went through trying to make games. It wasn't only just there's a pause on making games, but now you have to figure out a way to make it while social distancing. It was a lot of changes, and we're still kind of like in the sort of after effect of that. We're not quite past that in some ways. So you get to 2021, you get to 2022, and the thing is in 2021, Xbox had their best year in a long time. Forza Horizon 5 was considered by many a game of the year, like not a contender, a game of the year. Halo Infinite came out, Psychonauts 2 came out. They had a couple others. I think Age of Empires is exclusive to them, but like they had some good titles in there. But then
I think they were Publisher of the Year or something.
Yeah,
like that.
2022 comes out though, and nothing at all. And even then, I think 2022 for Xbox was most known as the year that all the shit happened at 343 and just changed completely. One by one, people are leaving, and that took notice, because like Halo is all they got. Like Halo is their like mascot, and they don't have anything else to support that. And so then when Redfall comes out, this is the first game in the acquisition. So 3 years prior, in 2020 was when the Bethesda, and everyone under them, acquisition happened. So for 3 years, people were waiting to see like what them and Xbox were going to put out. The first game was Redfall, and I'm blowing smoke up both of our buttholes. But Brian and I this felt like a game that's like, there's that one saying, I think it's in The Waterboy, but the mom's like, is this where you want to be when Jesus comes back? And I thought, is this the game you want to kick off with for this new era? Like, it's all about, there's a momentum is definitely a thing. First impressions are a thing. And this is the game, a 4-player co-op that is essentially a dead trend. And that's what you want to release as the game to kind of set the stage of expectations of what's to come. Because now that this game has become DOA, it's making people not only worry about Starfield, but worry about Xbox. There's people online that are calling for Phil's firing now. And I mean, we're going to talk about all this stuff, but like it's safe to assume, I mean, I think we both agree, that's a little ridiculous. We love Phil. We want Phil to stay there. But it's at that point because people are like pulling their hair out, super frustrated. And it's just this up and down slope of like, Xbox, you seem like you got, like you're putting in the work. You're not like, you're putting in the work to make it seem like there's an actual substance to what you're doing.
In the ground, but it's not growing.
But it's not growing, and it's not bearing fruit. And look, Phil also says in this interview, you know, that like he feels he says a lot in this interview. If you guys listen to it, this is the thing. I'm all over the place, so hopefully, you know, I'm sure you're taking mental notes too, Brian.
I am. I'm running out of space.
This is fun. But this is, and if you guys go watch this or listen to it, this is the only time I've ever seen Phil frustrated. I've never seen him frustrated up until this point. And he's visibly upset and disappointed. And he feels bad. He apologizes. He takes all the faults. He has a lot of corpo speak, and I don't blame anyone for still saying that's not good enough. Like, I don't care about anything he says here until they deliver, but he does say that to his credit. But he mentions a lot in here that, like, the stuff that they have cooking, even though he feels optimistic, you know, it doesn't really matter until you got the controller in your hands and you're playing the game. But he did say he felt optimistic. He felt good about getting to the point where they can finally start hitting quarterly releases. He said a lot of that stuff, and I'm getting ahead, but I say that because I feel like they probably have, like, maybe when we get to the showcase and stuff like that, I feel like they're probably going to have a lot of cool reveals, a lot of cool things to show, and maybe not. Maybe it'll be so bad. But I feel like they have a lot of good stuff finally cooking, ready to come out of the oven. It's dinging, you know, it's done. The tea's ready. But you have the CMA blocking. You have Redfall taking a shit. You have the hardware sales reporting loss. It's just one thing after another. And because we can't see what's on the other side of the wall, all we can see is this stuff. And it's a collective build up to the breaking point.